Ecco the Dolphin, Defender of the Future, came out in the year 2000 on the Dreamcast, was later released on the PlayStation 2 in 2002, and is honestly one of the most batshit crazy games you can ever play. It's so weird and I love it. So this is actually like the 5th installment in the franchise, which I had no idea about. Like, I genuinely didn't know there were so many entries in this. I know that there's the Mega Drive game, which I've done a retro review on, and then I didn't know that there was a couple of other games in between that, and I always knew about this one. Now, the plot of the game is just crazy. It's existing in this sort of like weird, I don't know if it's like prehistory, but it's set on Earth and there's aliens, so it could be the future, but then it could be the past because it's like proto-human, so it's before humans are around. Dolphins are like defenders of the galaxy and defenders of the planet, and they have this like weird force field that protects all the oceans, planets. And the game is really not good at explaining much of this. A lot of the story comes from this sort of like opening cutscene, which I just had to sort of keep in here just to show you that I'm not like on drugs. This is like a legitimate storyline to this game. It's just so strange. It's a weird concept, but it's really cool. Like, it's so unique in that sense that there's not many other games that have this sort of mental story that they've just been like, yeah, let's just do everything. Let's have the dolphins be the guardians, and there's aliens involving, and there's a force field. Yeah, why not? As you can see, there's the little weird force field that's going over the planet, set up by dolphins or something, because, you know, dolphins are magic or some crap. And the aliens really want to get on the planet, but like, it doesn't really explain too much as to why the aliens want to be on the planet. But going back to this actual game, it is so fun. It's very confusing, but it's a really good game. And I guess that's kind of the trend with these games and this series of games in particular, because the Mega Drive game had even less story. It just kind of chucked you in there and was like, you're a dolphin, work it out. And if that is the like premise of the game, it does a really good job in it. So I've sort of skipped through the tutorial bit here. I didn't want to show too much of the tutorial, and it's just sort of mainly like the prologue mission where like one of the alien spaceships inevitably gets through, destroys the barrier, and then you're just the dolphin. And even though there's been a massive alien attack, you're more interested in helping your dolphin mates, and I love these graphics. There is something so good about Dreamcast graphics. Like, it just looks so much better than anything else that was out at the time. I don't know why, but to me the Dreamcast always looks like proper arcade style, sort of like late 2000s arcade graphics. Like, it's what I remember, like when I was younger, going to places like Hollywood Bowl, where there used to be like a really big arcade, and especially the one where I grew up near Stevenage, there was this massive arcade and it's still there now, and this is just such like nostalgic graphics for me. I think it looks great. I think it's got, like, for a 2000s game, strange water effects. So controlling Ecco, who's the dolphin, by the way, it just sort of lets you know that that's his name, is actually quite easy. It's very intuitive. You can do tricks, you can do like quick turns, backflips, as you can see there. Having a great time learning how to be a dolphin. And if you want to talk to any of the fish or anything like that, all you got to do is just like use your echo attack on your fish mates, and then they're like, well, why are you shouting at me? And then they come over and they tell you something. As you can see, this is just a lot of footage of me being about as confused as a dolphin would be if there was an alien attack. So I think I'm playing this pretty historically correct, or at least as correct as nature would dictate. You can get sort of like mission updates from these like random crystals that are everywhere, and they give you a bit more of an idea of what you have to do, as opposed to the Mega Drive one, which just didn't really give you much of an idea. And it's strange because this was supposed to be like a soft reboot, so they definitely learned from the Mega Drive's reception of no one having any idea what they were doing, and ran with it and made it more intuitive and more explanatory as to what you're supposed to do. And it's a real shame that like the Dreamcast came to an end, because there was actually a sequel planned out for this one. I believe it was like Sentinels of the Universe or Sentinels of Time, but unfortunately that was cancelled due to literally because the Dreamcast was cancelled in 2001. So this game only came out a year a year before the Dreamcast died, which is fascinating to me, because to me this is like just as the Dreamcast was really hitting its stride and showing its like graphics capability. Like looking at these graphics, this is a 2000 era game. This is before the PlayStation 2. This came out at the same time as the PlayStation 1, and these graphics are incredible. Like for that era, like I don't think people understand how good the Dreamcast was, and it was just a simple matter that it was before its time. That's the only reason it failed. So yeah, this is still just footage of me. I'm trying to find a baby whale, and I'm like, you know, you go back to a game and you kind of remember what you're doing and how to do it, but you just can't quite grasp the subtleties of what you're supposed to be doing. Like you got half the story and you're like, yeah, I know there's a whale, I know what I'm supposed to do, just couldn't quite remember where it was. Now, when this game came out, it got some pretty good reviews to it. It was sort of hitting around on the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast reviews much better than the PlayStation version of this game, and it's kind of sitting at about 80 to 85% score lines for the Dreamcast, but much lower on the PS2. So if you have the opportunity, pick this up on the Dreamcast, not the PlayStation 2. For PS2, it's sitting at around sort of 60 to 70% like approval, which is still a decent game, but I feel like there was a few mistranslations for the PlayStation version of this game. But on its actual release, the game was massively praised for its graphics, its story, and was actually one of the best, like voted one of the best games of 2000, and that's sourced by IGN. So take that with what you will. IGN were a much different kettle of fish back in the day, as to opposed to what they're like now. But yeah, so back then IGN loved this game, and yeah, so Ecco. I think it would be fascinating if we went back to these sort of weird games that are like just your standard like animal action adventure game. Oh, this is just me showing off, like working out how to do the random tricks again in the game. But yeah, I always found it really weird that they sort of just stopped these like games where there was an animal protagonist, and I don't really know why. One of my favourite ever PS2 games, because of how dumb it is a game called A Dog's Life, which I did a very, very small, Who Remembers on, which I had been meaning to go back and re-record some more footage of that game, because it's hilarious, that game is. But there was like a small period where like there was a lot of animal games coming out. There was this one, like Ecco series. I believe there was like a game series when you played as like a tiger, and yeah, like they just sort of died. I don't know whether it was because they were boring, because I think that would be really fun to go back and play some games that where you're basically playing as an animal and you don't have to sort of confine to like human norms. It'd be interesting to be back to animal games. As you can see here, again, using the intelligence of a dolphin, I've worked out that there's something fishy with this green rock, but I can't quite move it, and maybe if I had about 2 more dolphins of strength, I could probably do this. And that's when the penny clicks around about here, when I just done a backflip, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've just kind of remembered what I have to do. Thought it was speed. Speed's not the answer. And I'm like, how could I be like the power of 3 dolphins? Oh, no, it's not the angle, maybe something else. Again, I'm channeling my inner dolphin here, and just pretending like to have the intelligence of a dolphin. I'm actually way more smarter than this in real life. Honestly, I am. But I would absolutely love like a Dreamcast Mini, or like I kind of would love it if Sega went back to like consoles. Like I'd love to see what like a modern Sega console is. I know some of the Sega's games at the moment are lacking. Sonic is very hit and miss nowadays. A lot of the like Sonic Mania and the 2D Sonic games are great, but the 3D ones I hear are a little bit ropey. So I don't know whether like Sega's really got it in them to go back to consoles, but it would be really cool. Like I'd really love to see like a Dreamcast 2, if that was such a thing. Dreamcast 2, that would be cool. Or like just to see what would happen now. What would this era of gaming look like modernized, whether it's through like a new Dreamcast console or a Dreamcast Mini or anything like that. I just would love to see it now. As you can see, I've got my Dolphin Brodem. I've worked out how to be 3 times stronger than a single dolphin and solve the puzzle. So yeah, pretty much I'm a genius, as you all just witnessed. I'm a somewhat of a dolphin smart ass myself. But yeah, like I genuinely love to see a return to this era of gaming where everything was like experimental and weird, and everyone was brave enough to do something dumb where you play as a dolphin. But yeah, that's just my thoughts about this game and me rambling for a few minutes about Ecco the Dolphin and the Dreamcast and how much I missed the Dreamcast. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about Sega as a console manufacturer? Do you think they should go back? Do you think we should get a Dreamcast Mini? Do you think there should be a new entry in the Ecco franchise? I'm genuinely interested to know. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. It does help me a lot, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks guys.